We can all look on in awe at highlight reel shots from uber athletic players and just assume that those are the reasons that they're so good. What it is, however, more often than not, is effective patterns and tactics of play. So let's check it out. Counter the stacking team with a wide serve and drive or drop into the open court. One of the most common tactics used by pro players that you can certainly incorporate into your game occurs when opponents are stacking. At almost every level of the game, teams often stack on serve and return to keep two players on their preferred side. In the video example we see here that we've got Tyler Lung playing on the right side next to Ben Johns, who almost exclusively plays on the left. Against them is Ben's brother Colin, one of the best right side players in the game, who has teamed up with AJ Kohler. Given that both sides will occasionally be forced to cover some extra ground after returning serve from their non-preferred side, this presents a fantastic opportunity for the serving side. Notice how often the serve isn't just deep, but also wide. This makes the distance the returner has to run even longer, keeping the open space available for more time. Johns especially takes full advantage of this on a number of occasions. The lesson here is to always be aware when your opponent's tactic does in fact have a weakness. Stacking is not foolproof, so when your opponents are doing it against you on return of serve, make sure you try to serve deep into the corner and look to drive or drop aggressively into the open court. You may not win the point, but at very least you should set yourself up for an easy transition to the kitchen. On the flip side of this, if you're wanting to stack on the return of serve, make sure that you buy yourself some extra time by lofting your return higher than normal, and ideally returning down the line so your partner has a chance to intercept the ball heading for your half of the court. Take advantage of a new partnership by hitting the ball down the middle. Do you know how long your opponents have played together? As they say, down the middle solves the riddle, and that maxim holds true an alarming amount when a team first starts playing together. In the example today, none of these players have competed with each other before, and naturally have some growing pains. These are the best in the world, but they too can suffer from the same problem that an amateur player can: poor communication. One of the main issues is that all too often players get into a routine with familiar partners and communication largely becomes non-verbal. That former habit of actually calling mine or yours on those tricky middle balls is all but forgotten. We see here time and time again the middle being attacked or dinked towards in the hope that it will cause confusion and potentially a clash of paddles. If you know that your opponents are a new team, then it's time to solve that riddle. But remember, the middle doesn't necessarily mean the center of the court. If both your opponents are right-handed, then your target when dinking should be closer to the left foot of the right side player. If it's you and your partner that's the new team, then be sure to talk about the middle before the game starts. And until you get into a reliable routine, be loud and clear with your calls. Threaten the Ernie. Tyler Lung is one of, if not the best Ernie artist in the world. Sometimes, however, it isn't the actual Ernie that wins the point. It's purely the threat. The famous Ernie is obviously a great way to circumvent those pesky kitchen rules, but the often overlooked aspect of it is the immediate distraction to the opponent and the instant change in danger level by the player performing it. Tyler is well known for this skill, and because of this, most down-the-line dinks towards him are hit with trembling hands, as his opponents have to both watch the ball and scan for his potential Ernie. This takes concentration and nerves of steel. I don't expect you all to start jumping the lines after every dink that lands near a sideline, but I ask you, how often are you even showing your opponents that you have the Ernie in your bag of tricks? Remember, there's more than one way to Ernie. And if you've never done it before, then I suggest the simpler walk or run through approach to begin. Just make sure you are established outside the kitchen before taking a swipe at the ball. Target backhands on the return of serve. What would you rather hit your third shot drop with? Forehand, right? That's the answer most people give, and your opponents are no different. These are four of the best players in the world, but only one of them actually wants to hit a backhand drop: Tyler Lung. Notice what happens when the return of serve effectively gets to the backhand. Time after time, there are either mistakes or real difficulty getting up to the line. One of the reasons for this is counterspin. A return of serve with real backspin on it is a difficult shot to handle with a slice backhand, often the only option when it's impossible to use the forehand. The first thing I want you to do here is have a look at how your opponents are positioning when they are serving. If they are stacking, then you'll notice some real opportunities to find a player's backhand. The last basic tactic I want to touch on feeds a little off the previous subject, backhands. Aside from cross-court dinks, there are very few shots in pickleball that actually feel more comfortable when hit with a backhand versus a forehand. Take a look at how often slower balls are suddenly taken with a forehand. Pros do this because it opens up a wide variety of shot selections for them. Anything from short-angle dinks, lobs, and attacks are on the table for anyone fleet of foot to get around their backhand quickly. If you notice what happens to the opponents of Ben in particular when he's able to turn a backhand into a forehand, then be sure to mix up your shot selections. You will lose the element of surprise if you attack every single time you run around your backhand. Today we looked at patterns of play and tactics that work at the professional level and amateurs alike. Maybe you're already using some of these, or maybe you're now just having a light bulb moment as to how you're going to beat your arch nemesis. Either way, I hope you take these on board and give it a go when you're next on court. Till next time, see you at the kitchen line.